Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're taking a closer look, a deep dive, into someone really iconic, Jane Fonda, and specifically, her evolving understanding of faith.
Yeah, we've got this piece from Christian Culture News, and it really digs into her beliefs and, the experiences that shaped them over time.
Exactly. And this is for you, our listeners, who want to, well, get a handle on complex stuff pretty quickly, but still thoroughly. This should give you that richer picture without feeling overwhelming.
Right. The idea is to pull out the key insights from the article, what faith actually means to her personally.
And who or what influenced her?
Who influenced that view, yeah, and how it's kind of shifted across her life.
Because you really have to remember, Jane Fonda's life, it's been lived so much in the public eye right from the start.
Definitely. And the article brings that out, how that constant scrutiny, plus some pretty major life events.
Like that complex relationship with her father, Henry Fonda.
Right. And her very public struggles with body image, things like that.
And of course, the activism. Vietnam especially, and the huge backlash.
Yeah, the article suggests all of that really pushed her to grapple with these deeper questions about faith and meaning.
It mentions those moments of, crisis really happening right alongside massive fame.
And those moments acted as catalysts, sort of pushing this internal search. It also touches on how she engaged with different spiritual ideas, too.
Like Buddhism?
Buddhism, yeah, and Christianity are mentioned. So what we're really seeing is faith not as this fixed thing, but something, dynamic and deeply personal.
Okay, so let's dive right into that then. What does the article say about her personal take on faith? It sounds like it's quite unique to her.
Yeah, it seems to go beyond maybe typical religious definitions. It's described more as this profound connection.
The connection to what?
To the universe, it says, like an innate trust in how life unfolds. It's less about strict rules.
And more about?
More about things like hope, resilience, bouncing back, and compassion. That comes up a lot.
So it sounds like faith for her isn't just a belief system. It's like an active force in her life.
That's exactly how the article frames it. It shapes her choices, her interactions. It's presented as this kind of anchor.
An anchor during tough times.
Yeah, during personal challenges, definitely. But also, interestingly, it fuels her advocacy work.
For social justice, environmental causes.
Right. The idea seems to be that this belief in something bigger than herself actually drives this feeling of responsibility to, contribute positively.
That's interesting. And how does community fit into this? The article links her personal faith to community, right?
It does, yeah. It suggests faith acts as a bridge, bringing people together.
Even if they have different religious backgrounds.
Apparently so. It's about that unifying power of shared conviction, even if the details differ. Fonda seems to see it as a way to unite diverse people towards, common goals.
And that fosters empathy.
Empathy, mutual support, strengthening those human connections. That seems to be the idea.
Okay, so pulling that together, it's a really holistic view then. Personal growth, yes, but also social responsibility, community. It's all woven together.
Exactly. It's not just a belief held in private. It's an active, evolving part of navigating life with maybe a sense of purpose.
Right. And the article then looks at who influenced this journey, doesn't it? It wasn't formed in a vacuum.
No, definitely not. It emphasizes the people around her.
And first up is her father, Henry Fonda. Now, he wasn't religious in the usual sense.
Right. But the article highlights the values he instilled. Family values, a strong moral compass.
How does that connect to faith, though?
Well, the article kind of links his work ethic, his dedication, his integrity in his acting to a sort of spiritual dimension, living with purpose, even secularly.
Huh, okay. Then it moves on to spiritual leaders.
Yeah, specifically Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is mentioned.
Wow, that's a powerful influence. His fusion of faith and social justice action is legendary.
Absolutely. And it seems Dr. King's example really resonated with Fonda, reinforcing that idea that belief should lead to action.
Humanitarian work, activism.
Exactly. That link between faith and doing something in the world.
But it wasn't just famous figures, right? The article mentions friends, too.
Yeah, fellow artists, activists. It talks about the importance of those relationships for discussions, reflecting on beliefs.
Challenging assumptions, even.
Yeah, providing that space for mutual support and, community again. A different kind of community, perhaps.
So it's this mixed family foundation, profound inspiration like Dr. King, and then the ongoing dialogue with peers.
Right, all feeding into this continuous spiritual evolution and helping her figure out faith in, the modern world.
Okay, but it wasn't all straightforward, was it? The article talks about challenges, doubts,
Oh, absolutely. And it stresses that Friend has been quite open about that. It wasn't just a smooth path.
Which makes sense, really, growing up so publicly, all those pressures.
Societal, personal. Yeah. The article suggests that environment itself led her to question things early on.
And then her career, being exposed to so many different worldviews in Hollywood.
That amplified the doubts, fueled introspection, it seems. It wasn't just external pressure anymore, but internal questioning, too.
And the article mentions personal crises, public scrutiny adding to that.
Yes, those were catalysts, not just intellectual puzzles, but real-life tests of her spiritual stance, forcing reevaluation.
But the key point seems to be that she didn't see doubt as, like, the enemy of faith.
Exactly. That's crucial. The article frames wrestling with uncertainty not as a barrier, but as a necessary part of understanding faith more deeply.
So confronting doubt helps build a stronger, more personal faith.
That seems to be the takeaway. And then her activism added another layer.
How so?
Well, trying to reconcile a belief in, say, a higher purpose with the harsh realities of injustice in the world. That tension shaped her view of faith as something that should actually drive social change.
So it connects back to that practical application again. It's not just inner peace.
Right. It's about how belief motivates engagement. The article sums it up by saying faith is this ongoing process of seeking, and grappling with doubt is, well, intrinsic to getting to a richer understanding.
Okay, so that brings us back to community, which you mentioned. The article really emphasizes its role, doesn't it?
Hugely. It's
Yeah.
clearly not a solitary path for her. Being part of collectives, different groups, has profoundly shaped her journey.
Providing what? Belonging, support.
Both of those, yeah. And just creating an environment where faith can actually, flourish.
And it mentions specific things like group discussions, gathering.
Communal rituals, shared experiences. The idea is these things reinforce convictions and give a stronger sense of purpose.
And it's a safe space, too, for exploring values.
Apparently so. A space characterized by openness, accepting different takes on spirituality. That seems important in her experience.
It's more than just togetherness, though, right?
Yeah.
The article mentioned accountability.
Yeah, and encouragement. Having people who kind of get your journey, offer support when it's tough, celebrate the insights.
That makes sense.
And it also touches on collective prayer or intention, how that shared focus can strengthen personal faith and that connection to something bigger.
So her faith is really nurtured by community, not just lived within it,
That's a good way to put it. It's interwoven with her connections.
which leads directly into the link between faith and activism then.
Yep, the article draws a very strong line there. They're not separate things for her at all.
Her spiritual beliefs act as a moral compass.
Exactly. Fueling the passion for social justice, compelling her to speak out, advocate for the marginalized.
Like a moral imperative comes out of her faith.
That's the idea presented, that faith isn't passive, it demands engagement with the world. Spiritual conviction as a motivator for commitment to causes.
And the article links this specifically to compassion and empathy.
Yes. It's not abstract justice, but about connecting with the struggles of others. Her advocacy is rooted in trying to understand those experiences.
Empathy as essential for justice.
Right. And it mentions her belief in interconnectedness, this idea rooted in the inherent dignity of every person.
Which must be particularly powerful during times of social unrest.
Exactly. The article suggests her faith reminds her then of the need for solidarity, for supporting others fighting for equality.
So her life really illustrates how faith can be both that personal guide and a catalyst for action in the world.
It definitely invites reflection on how our own beliefs might mobilize us, doesn't it?
Now, the article also talks about life transitions being really key shapers of her faith.
Yeah, those big moments, personal, public, they weren't just things that happened to her, they were opportunities for reflection and growth, spiritually speaking.
Like her divorce from Roger Vadim. That's mentioned as pivotal.
It is a really challenging time that apparently pushed her to explore her beliefs much more deeply, questioning things like love, companionship.
And faith's role in relationships.
Exactly. And through that reevaluation, the article suggests her definition of faith shifted.
Shifted how?
More towards seeing it as an inner strength, a source of resilience, rather than maybe relying on external structures or doctrines quite so much.
Interesting. And then her activism again. That was another major transition point.
Yeah, getting deeply involved there forced her to grapple with moral ethical questions that went beyond traditional religion.
leading her to see faith more as a collective force for change.
It seems so. And her later work on environmental issues, women's rights, that further solidified this belief in interconnectedness, pushing towards a more inclusive spiritual view.
So it really plants faith as this dynamic journey, constantly reshaped by life.
Definitely not static. The article emphasizes that each change prompted reassessment, deepening her understanding, and often that growth came out of the really hard times.
So how does she keep that faith alive day to day? The article mentions practices, rituals,
Right. It highlights meditation as being pretty central for her.
just for relaxation or more.
More, it seems, as a way to connect with her inner self, the world around her. Cultivating mindfulness to navigate daily life and, importantly, align her actions with her core beliefs.
And gratitude comes up too.
Yes, as a daily ritual, journaling, or just reflection, it's presented as a way to reaffirm faith, maintain positivity, build that resilience we talked about.
Okay, so inner work. But what about outward action?
Well, that's where community involvement comes back in. Her activism, environmental awareness work that's framed as another pillar of her spiritual practice.
So action is ritual in a way.
Kind of, yeah. Reflecting that belief that faith extends into communal action. It reinforces her convictions and that sense of belonging.
So it's this blend, again, personal reflection, outward engagement, very holistic.
Exactly. These practices together are what keep her spiritual connection vital and acting as that guiding force.
Which brings us nicely to the conclusion, really emphasizing that core theme. Faith evolves.
Right. It's not fixed. It's personal, often transformative. Fonda's insights show how beliefs aren't static. They adapt based on experiences, societal shifts, deeper understanding.
Her own views clearly shifted from maybe more conventional beginnings.
Yeah, through new ideas, encounters. She really embodies faith as this living thing that encourages questions, encourages learning.
And the article stresses the importance of being open to different views, even challenging ones.
Definitely. It connects her journey to that common human experience of doubt, of seeking deeper connections throughout life.
And being able to adapt your faith isn't weakness.
Quite the opposite. The article frames it as a sign of intellectual and spiritual curiosity, a commitment to growth.
So embracing that changing nature fosters resilience, deeper self-understanding.
And better relationships, potentially. It's about seeing spiritual paths as dynamic, full of growth, often spurred by challenges. Fonda's perspective encourages that openness, inclusivity, that willingness to learn.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from this deep dive into Jane Fonda's faith, according to the article. It's deeply personal,
Constantly evolving,
shaped by others,
chested by doubt.
strengthened by community,
Definitely connected to action and activism.
and something she reflects on deeply during life's big shifts.
A really rich picture.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with maybe a final thought for our listeners to ponder.
Go on.
How have your own life experiences shaped or maybe reshaped your understanding of what's truly important to you? You know, think about the people, the challenges, the communities that have influenced your own perspective.
It's like an invitation for everyone to do their own deep dive, really, into their own beliefs and what shaped them.
Exactly. Food for thought.
Thanks for joining us for this deep